Today, we're going to look at a brand builder case study of a guy named Spencer Russell. Now, Spencer went from being a kindergarten teacher to building a $1 million online business, teaching toddlers how to read in about 2 years. And he did it through content marketing on social media, where he grew an audience of over 3 million people in that time. So, if you're looking to do something like this, if you want to turn your passion and expertise into an online business, and you want to create content that really resonates with your audience, then this is a really good case study to look at. And I'm going to look closely at his website, his sales funnel, his social media, and we're going to look at some tips that he used to have this success. All right. So, the number one problem we got to figure out today is sure, Spencer can do that. And that's really inspiring that he has success. But as you probably know, results like that are rare. And many entrepreneurs spend lots of time and do these exact same things and don't get the results that Spencer was able to achieve. And if you have spent time, energy on equipment, marketing content, creating the perfect posts, and you're not getting results, well, let's figure out what Spencer did that you're not doing, right? So we have to figure out what made the difference for him, what strategies allowed him to break through the noise and build this audience. And so I dug into his entire online business, and I'm going to share some tips today that could help you change and improve your strategy to hopefully very soon create the kind of posts that get seen, shared, and make you a lot more money. Plus, at the end, I'm going to share a brand builder shortcut that you can implement right away to start getting results today. All right, so that sounds good to you. Welcome to the Brand Builder Shortcuts podcast. My name is Andrew Lane, and you can check out more of our episodes and resources at designhacker.com. Now, in this case study today, we're going to break it down through a lens of a framework that I developed called the Brand Builder Trifecta. And what I've found is that every brand that is crushing it online, and really every brand in general, is doing these three things. You have to have these three things figured out. And the better you do in each one of these pillars, the more likely you are to succeed. So the pillar number one is marketing. Pillar number two is messaging. Pillar number three is monetization. And all three of them work together to build your online brand. So what Spencer has done really well is the marketing side. He's grown a huge audience. That makes it much easier, and you have a lot more wiggle room to not be perfect with your sales funnel or your monetization. Because when you have that many people looking at your content, the numbers are in your favor, and it's very cheap to get in front of them, right? Because he has followers, not just people consuming his content, but actually subscribing and following him on social media. And that means you can get back in front of them without really any expense. Just by having subscribers on YouTube, that's a great marketing strategy because if they subscribe, they're going to see your posts, or they have a high chance, or at least some chance of seeing your posts for free when you post new content. All right. So that's a strategy you probably are aware of, but really got to leverage that to get results. Now we're going to also look at his messaging, which is how he takes that attention, that audience, and moves them to becoming customers and buying his products and services. And then finally, what types of income streams does he have, and how can you do the same? All right. So the first up, let's look at the marketing strategy. And this is, how do you create content that captures their attention? When it comes to building a brand, getting noticed is half the battle. Many entrepreneurs spend so much time creating great products and even websites and sales pages, but if you don't have people looking at it, then you're not going to get much results. So the key to Spencer's marketing success is obviously easier said than done. He creates content that people actually want to watch. Now, it sounds simple, but here's some of the science behind how he does it. He focuses a lot on watch time, and that means mostly the first 3 seconds. So he found that the first 1 second of your video, if you can get 89% retention on that first second, 82% retention after the second, and 78% after 3 seconds, then your content has a high chance of going viral. Now that's pretty analytical, and you may not want to study that closely, but the takeaway here is that those first few seconds of your content really matter. So can you grab their attention? And if you, just looking at his social media, I noticed that he's really good with visual content. It's not fake, it's not fabricated. He's actually creating videos in an environment where he is doing the thing. He's teaching kids how to read. And that's very maybe obvious, but a lot of people miss this step of just like, show yourself doing the thing. What does it look like? What are you selling? And just show yourself in that environment doing it. That could be scary for a lot of people, but for Spencer, this to me looks like one of the most important things he's done is he just records himself. It could be these look like they could be done on an iPhone. They don't have to be that crazy, but he has little props like a whiteboard. He has kids there that he's helping and teaching, and it's a very friendly, warm, welcoming environment. You feel like you're right there, like in a classroom environment, seeing him do his thing, and he's sharing great tips and advice. Now, it doesn't look like to me he stresses too much about like the perfect angles or lighting. It looks good enough. The environment's clean and straightforward. But what's really good about at least his Instagram content is he has value in the title of each video. So each video is not just showing him doing it, but he has some text on there, just a few words, something like teach a toddler to read in 3 easy steps, or stop doing this and start doing this, or how to teach double consonants, or don't get mad at your child or yourself. Little like kids love this activity. Short couple words, how to help a perfectionist. These are titles that are intriguing to the ideal customer. And the combination of seeing him in an environment where he's teaching and an intriguing title to me is really what will get people's attention. And it seems to be what's been effective for him. Now, his top posts on Instagram, one has 775,000 likes. And it's just him with a young kid, and he's got a little whiteboard out, and it looks like they're working on something. And he says, how to teach IGH, which I don't even know what that is, but apparently that's something around reading that would be appealing to that ideal customer. So the parent trying to figure this out. So really simple content. I like how simple it is. He has a similar strategy on YouTube where it's like 5 mistakes, quick and easy beginner reading. Let's see his most popular videos on YouTube, 2 million views. The secret to helping any child follow your directions. The thumbnail says works every time. And it's got like, again, him in his environment here teaching the easiest way to teach any child to read. The thumbnail just shows maybe like a before and after, kind of like left and right visual. Another thumbnail here is his third most popular video has stopped doing this. And he's showing himself teaching like syllables or sounds or letters. And then the title of the video is how to pronounce the 26 letter sounds. So really simple stuff. This is not rocket science. It's like, what are you doing? And now he's giving away a lot of the value that you would assume could be in a course. And that's one of the balancing acts that people struggle with is like, how much do I give away for free versus what do I sell in my courses? So let's take a look further here. So what he does is blends entertainment and value. It's not enough to just inform. Your content needs to entertain while it educates. This combo keeps viewers engaged and coming back for more. So by entertainment, I think a lot of people mistake that for like dancing around and doing goofy things or like trying to be gimmicky. I really don't think that's important for an expert, an educator, someone who's trying to build their credibility of having valuable insights to share. You don't need to over entertain, but it does need to be interesting. I would say keep it interesting and move it along versus like dry, boring presentations. You have to remember they're in an environment where it's fast paced and they're looking around. They have a lot of distractions. So make it interesting. And I think that's just he's done a good job of that with like clear visuals. A lot of times you can just simplify things down. What is the core thing they need to walk away with? What's the number one thing in this video they need to know? And can you get that across really quick? So he's done a good job of that in these videos. Now his YouTube videos are around we've got like 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 3 minutes here, 5 minutes. Looks like around an average of 10 minutes or so. So not super long, gets right to the point. Spencer does a lot of studying his own analytics, what's working, what's not, to improve his content over time. And you can go study his stuff right now. Look him up. His website is toddlersread.com, and then his socials are on there. Really good to study how he's doing it because he is very, very good at social media content. And then what he's done also is he's defined clear content buckets, which means he listed out what are the key topics that I could be creating content around. For him, it was 6 main categories: teaching letter sounds, blending, tricky words, advanced phonics, toddler behavior, and parent mindset. And by keeping the content focused on those topics, his audience knows exactly what to expect. So by applying these strategies, Spencer built a huge following without having to spend a dime on ads. The takeaway is quality content that I would say is interesting and informs is your best marketing tool. It really is the cheapest way. And if you can get a system down to create content like this without too much time and energy, again, it's got to be sustainable because he is pumping out lots of content. All right. This isn't like a one and done thing. You really have to create a system that you can create lots of content with minimal effort on your part. All right. So, stuff that you're already doing, can you turn this into content quickly? Can you get a habit and learn that skill of finding the one thing that needs to be taught? And can you get that across quickly? And then, as you're creating content, focus on what people are actually watching and then keep creating more of that. Okay, next up, we're going to look at Spencer's messaging strategy. And this is where we start to look at the sales funnel, the website. How do we turn those viewers into customers? So there's a few things we can start with that I noticed right away on his social media channels. He's very good at positioning himself. He says, "Hey, I'm Spencer Russell. I help your child read." Very clear messaging on his social profiles. "I can help you teach your kid to read. DM me free for my 30-minute parent workshop." And then he has a link to like a little link tree with some of these. And he's got free content, digital downloads, physical products, and complete courses. So I see a lot of people make this mistake with link trees. They have way too many links on there. Don't overwhelm them. Like, what do they want? He's got 4 links on here that are pretty clear. If we open these up, it looks like we have like the workshop here he links to. He's got free quizzes, beginner reading quiz, advanced reader quiz, free downloads, blending cheat sheet. So some cheat sheets here, tricky words 101. He's got some free printables, really valuable stuff. Now, when we click on each of these, let's go ahead and try one of these free downloads. It just goes to a really simple page that kind of shows a preview of that. That has a title, blending cheat sheet, learn how to assess your little one's blending ability and get immediate next steps. All right. So really clear offer. Again, the messaging I think is really strong on all of his sales funnel. And even his website, the header says, "Learning to read changes kids' lives for the better." He's really highlighting the benefit here to the kids. And then he says, "We offer step-by-step guidance so you can teach your little one to read starting as early as 18 months." So I think he's clarifying there, what does a toddler mean? Well, starting as early as 18 months. So making that clear as well. Really good messaging all around. The other side of it is visual messaging. And again, right here on his homepage, he has pictures of kids reading, smiling, doing the thing. He's got pictures of him teaching kids to read. Really good credibility right away. What I think is interesting is his logo is super basic and almost doesn't even make sense. It's like a map with a little location marker on it. Not what I would assume or expect from a logo for this brand, but it's very clean in the style of it, which I like. And if you want to create logos that are really minimal and clean, you can go to a site like thenounproject.com. I've got a bunch of logos, whether it's for your entire brand or specific products or programs that you're creating. Thenounproject.com, it's not a sponsor or anything. I just use them myself and I only share stuff that I actually use. So I really like their site because you can get these kind of files really quick for just a couple bucks. So really cheap. You can create a visual brand identity for your business, similar to what you'll see at toddlersread.com. And overall, just looking at the visual design, really simple and clean. White background. He's got really strong contrast, kind of a blue gray primary color for the brand. So basically one color for the brand. Everything is that same color. He's using one font, which is Montserrat, which I love that font. Got nice bold headlines and then a lighter, thinner body text. As we scroll down, his whole style is kind of consistent. He uses a monochromatic color palette, which just means kind of like grays, or within that same color palette, that one main color. So the next section down is just a light gray background. Again, focus on the benefit, accelerate your child's reading journey. When children struggle with reading, school is much harder. So he's really addressing the problem here right away, both academically and socially. And the tough truth is the traditional classroom settings, or in the traditional classroom settings, most kids have trouble learning to read. Thankfully, you don't have to rely on someone else to teach your little one to read. Instead, you can teach them. So he's positioning his ideal client, the parent, as the hero. Really strong messaging here. And then a button that says, "Show me how." which I think is intriguing. Again, showing this another photo of a parent teaching their kid to read, making them the hero. Scrolling down, another really simple section. There's 5 little stars here, which show more of the benefits. And the headline says reading impacts more than grades, improves self-esteem. So the benefit number 1 is improved self-esteem. Then he goes into broadens interest, increases graduation rates, encourages school engagement, and expands career choices. So I really like that section on the homepage here. Again, more benefit driven. Now we're going into who is Spencer? Hey, I'm Spencer. A section here showing him teaching a kid to read. He's got a little blurb next to the image. It says award-winning educator and founder of Toddlers Can Read. So really good credibility here. Here's why I care so much about kids and reading. So a quick story. It's not super lengthy. I'm definitely passionate about helping parents and caregivers teach their little ones to read. But to be honest, it's not ultimately about reading itself. It's about what reading unlocks. So I like how he's going more into not just learning how to read, but again, the bigger benefit, the benefit of the benefit. They will learn to read, but what does that mean? What does that create for them in their life? So really good positioning here. And I'm going to look to see if that is continued throughout everything. But usually the homepage is like where you can kind of bring it all together. And he's saying here, when kids read well, they get to choose their life. Whatever small role I can play in your little one's success, I'm here for it. So he says when kids read well from the get-go, they do better in school from the start. Strong academics means more opportunities down the road, and more opportunities means more options. Really cool. Then he's got a button to meet Spencer, which I assume takes you to, yep, the about page where he has a more in-depth of the story. So using the home page to kind of link them into stuff if they want it, but they can just scan really quickly to get a good snapshot of everything they need to know. Now we move down into kids who start ahead, stay ahead. Again, another benefit or an overall philosophy. And supporting your child's reading journey is so much easier than you think. Plus, it's fun for both of you. And he's got links to online courses, YouTube channel, or the blog. So 3 ways to kind of get started and get into the content. Scrolling down, we have some testimonials, really simple testimonial slider, no photos or anything, just quick, only 3 of them, quick sentence and a name of the testimonial. Now we move down and here is the freebie. So we have the free beginning reading workshop. All right, so this is where we really start to move them. We've done a lot already just from the homepage here. And most likely he's not sending people to the homepage, but knowing that people start to look into your stuff and they're going to research. The homepage is a good catch-all, get your message really refined. And I'm sure if you study his social media content, he's reinforcing these messages. So when we talk about messaging, just getting their attention doesn't necessarily do anything, but what are you saying in your content? What is the underlying message that you're amplifying through social media and that you're promising in your sales funnel and that you're delivering on in your paid content, right? That is why messaging is really the glue to this whole thing. It should dictate what you say in your content and how you move them through your funnel. And again, the fastest way to get them to trust you is to show these kind of images, show the credibility, share the story, share the results, highlight the benefits, and now give them a call to action. And this here is really key. How do you get them to take that first step? Well, we've got a free workshop. And in this workshop, let's take a look here. I'm going to take a look at the sales page or the landing page for the workshop. So free and on-demand beginning reading workshop. Join thousands of parents who've discovered this surprisingly simple approach to teaching reading. Pretty vague, but again, another photo of him, like, hey, like a screenshot from the video, a button to register. We scroll down, we see some highlights of it. It says developmentally appropriate. So it's, again, highlighting it's for children as young as 18 months old. So who it's for, like who it will help. Designed for busy families. So find out how you can teach your child to read in just a few minutes a day. So addressing a lot of the potential objections, like, is my kid old enough? Well, let's address that. Do I have time to do this? Well, let's address that. Teaching experience not required. Do I have to be a great teacher to do this well? He addresses that in the 3rd column. Get step-by-step guidance so you can teach your child. So he really just is debunking any fears or doubts, overcoming the objections right away to get them to sign up. Scrolling down, another section here. In just 30 minutes, you'll learn, boom, boom, boom. He's got 4 bullet points of what they'll learn, some more testimonials. Again, highlighting the message, you can teach your child to read faster than any school or daycare. That's pretty cool. Join the workshop now. When you join, you get in here, you watch like a video. It looks like he's using a tool called e-webinar, which looks pretty cool. I don't use it, never tried it, but it's a pretty sweet little system. I would say it's more advanced if you have a big audience and your conversion percentages really matter on like having the perfect little webinar platform. This one seems pretty cool because it has questions that pop up throughout to really engage the viewer. And he has these kind of questions that help them, again, having like quizzes and polls helps to build that connection and let the audience, the person watching this, know that this is for them. And then by the end, he has the offer pop up, which is a limited time offer, 20% off the 3-course bundle. It also includes physical objects, which are cool. The flashcards, maybe that's digital, but courses, bundles, everything, even if it's already on sale. Wow. So it's a pretty sweet deal. Sign up now. And the video was it was like 20 or 30 minutes. So pretty common length for a webinar. And I'm not going to break down his webinar script, but just seeing the flow here of social media. And again, on his social medias, he has a link to that workshop, and he's telling people to like DM or reach out to get access to that workshop. So a lot of this traffic is sending them into this funnel where he's putting them in front of this webinar. And then he has the sign up link. Now, when you click that, it goes to a sales page here for it. And this sales page has a countdown timer. Looks like he's using a deadline funnel to do the countdown timer, which also helps with some of the technical stuff of making sure that this offer does go away. Again, this is a pretty advanced sales funnel. I would not recommend this much for a newbie. And this is not necessarily where he started, but this is where he's at now. And this is a pretty common path where people will start to get the bells and whistles all dialed in. Because as your audience is growing, now it's a matter of converting the highest percentage that you can. And these are tactics that do work, using a webinar tool, using limited time offers. Now this is all hooked up to an email sequence. But again, it's a lot to put this together and it does take some time. On this page, he has some like screenshots of what you get on the inside. We have a quick breakdown. He's also thanking them for watching the workshop. So this is kind of showing this is only for people who watch the workshop. Down below, we have some benefits listed out. We have some video testimonials. We haven't seen that anywhere else yet. So video testimonials on the sales page. Looks like he has a lot of them, which is really cool. FAQs, we have related products as well. And the total offer here looks like $240 for this special deal. If I add to cart, I don't see the discount applied, so I'm not sure how much I'm actually saving. He did say 20%, but I'm just seeing the main price. So yeah, I don't see the discount. I guess it's just a bundle. I would like to see like what the normal price was and then what the new price was. That would help me understand the savings. So I don't see that, but overall, I mean, really common funnel there. Pretty sweet. And let's take a look and look closer at how this all came together and some of the insights. So when we look at the messaging strategy, turning viewers into customers, getting your eyes on content is great, but the real magic happens when you convert those viewers into paying customers. So let's see what Spencer did, summarizing some of this. Start with value. So as we talked about, is content really valuable? Positions him as a trusted authority, credible expert, and guide. And it showcases his expertise. And all of that makes the transition to paid offers much smoother. Again, if you're not positioning yourself as an authority or expert, no one's going to buy from you. They're not going to be interested in what you have to sell. So you have to get that done right. Create a clear funnel. He uses Instagram bio strategically instead of overwhelming visitors with options. He directs them to a focus funnel that guides them towards his paid offerings. We walked through that, but that's a really important thing. The simple way to do that, if you're just getting started, is like, what is the thing you want them to do? What would be the first step that they can take right now to get some value? And a lot of people just use like a one-to-one. Hey, I'll do free 30-minute coaching call. That's a great starting point. That could be your offer to begin with. The next thing could be a recording of something that you did. So what you can do right now is like record something this weekend and then be like, hey, I just recorded an amazing like quick breakdown of our formula or our framework or like some case studies of how we helped our clients. Go check it out here and just put it up, have them opt in. That could be a good starting point. And then in that training, you'd say, hey, if you want to work with us, or if you are interested in like getting our templates and resources, here's a way to go buy those. All right. So clear funnel doesn't have to be that complicated. This is a pretty advanced example, but simple steps they can take right now to get moving. Now, another thing that Spencer did well is him and his team use direct messaging on Instagram in particular to build relationships. And a lot of people were reaching out, asking questions. And so, what you can actually do is if you're just getting started, you're getting some engagement, people are actually responding to you, you can figure out what their pain point is. And ideally, you would create a freebie that would answer a lot of those questions. So, they started getting messages, and this webinar that they created or the workshop that they recorded became the solution to people who were curious, had questions, and wanted to know more. So your freebie can almost be like, hey, you know what? We put together a workshop. This will answer a lot of your questions. I recommend going and watching that right now. Instead of having to have these conversations over and over with people, figure out what you could say in one recording or a quick little mini course or a written document that would solve a lot of that back and forth with people. And that could become your first freebie. And then in the future, you don't have to have long conversations with people. Just point them to your freebie. So next up, as I talked about, he uses stories and behind the scenes kind of footage to create his content. And this helps his followers feel more connected to him and his brand. He's really showing up and showing what he's doing in his business. And then, as we talked about, balancing free and paid content. While Spencer gives away a lot for free, he's clear about the added value his paid courses provide. And this creates a natural progression for followers who want more in depth support. So, what that means is, even though he's giving a lot of content for free, what he can say is, if you want these kind of flashcards or if you want the full in depth training, we offer that in our courses and programs. And if you're ready to get started, go check out our workshop to learn more about what we do, our philosophy, and how our resources can help you. Like that's a really natural transition because the truth is when you get into the weeds of any topic, you're going to start to say, well, I need those templates or I need to know exactly what to say here or how to do that. That's where your course content has everything. And by showing the experience, the benefits of what happens when you do the thing in your content, they're going to be intrigued and they're going to want to learn more about how they can get those resources. So the key takeaway here from Spencer's messaging strategy is to always lead with value and I would say benefits as well. I saw on his website and his marketing campaigns, landing pages, really benefit driven. What does this mean? Why does it matter? What's going to happen when you do this? And he talked a lot about all the benefits of not just learning how to read, but what that would do for the child and their life. And by consistently providing helpful content for free, by solving a lot of these problems in his content, you really build trust and credibility. And also these photos, the testimonials, we saw a lot of the things that he's doing to create and establish credibility in his messaging. That's what converts leads into customers. Okay, finally, we're getting to the monetization strategy. And this is the last pillar of our brand builder trifecta, making the money. But really, what that means is finding better ways to make money and making money in a way that actually builds your brand, not cheesy ways to make money, but creating an amazing customer experience that builds your brand because people have success, that creates testimonials and case studies that turns into your messaging and helps convert customers faster because they can see that it actually works. And it helps you create great content for your social media because you can show those stories, the success stories, and demonstrate what they need to do to be like that person. So the monetization is really key. And if you want a brand that gives you freedom, you got to find a way to make money in better ways. So Spencer's journey from teacher to successful entrepreneur gives us insights that we can all learn. Here's how he did it. All right. So I'm going to break this down first by looking at his stuff, and then we're going to look at the summary here in a moment. So let's go ahead first and take a look at his site. He does have a link at the top that says courses. Now he has links from there to go in and buy these different products. The range of price is from looks like about $130 to $300 or $400. So not crazy expensive, and it's not a real wide range. Usually you'll see like a a cheaper offer below $50 or $100 up to like 1,000 or 2,000. From what we see publicly, he has a very narrow range of offerings. He has the learning sounds course, the blending words course, the ready to read 3-course bundle. So that includes, I guess, all 3 of these. The third course was reading rules course. So what a lot of people do is they'll create 1 course at a time and sell that, promote that, and then eventually you can bundle things together to create one big offer. So as we saw in his funnel, the main thing he's selling is the 299 3-course bundle. So that's kind of like the all-in-one thing. So you may not start there, but that could be a goal to get to. And a lot of people will sell that in different ways. Maybe it's a membership, maybe it's a real high ticket offer, like come join our thing and you're gonna get all the courses we've created, all the resources. But that can stack over time. So compounding your efforts, solving one problem at a time can help you eventually build out a more robust offer. And just a quick tip on the visual appearance of these. He's really just using screenshots from the videos of him teaching. He's got a little mobile preview to show what it looks like on your phone. So kind of showing that you can watch this on your phone or your laptop so that you're showing the experience that they're going to have. Like, how would I learn this? When I click on each of these sales pages, we get a little bit more screenshots of like the kind of worksheets, the handouts you get, printable flashcards. All right, that's cool. So a lot of the stuff here that he's really packed in, you get like a mobile experience as well, so you can watch this on your phone and learn. And then also, if you want to create mock-up images like this, I would recommend a really cool free site. It's called mockup.photos, and they have all these kind of laptop mock-ups. So really easy way to get that done if you were wondering. But nowadays, you can find that stuff on Canva. It's really easy to create those. But a simple little tool that I've used in the past is called mockup.photos. That's a free tool to create nice mockups so you can take your screenshots and drop them in and show what that learning experience will look like if you are creating online products. So this is all pretty straightforward. It's a course. We can see here he's really thought through how the experience will look and what they need to have a successful outcome. He's included tangible things inside of his digital course, which is a really good idea. If you can create templates, shortcuts, resources that have a higher perceived value versus just teaching stuff, that's going to really bring it together and make your content unique and much more perceived value. So he's done a good job of that. I think the combination of creating mini courses and then bringing it all together into a bundle and having the physical kind of like resources, printouts, shortcuts, cheat sheets, flashcards, those really enhance the value. So let's take a look here and summarize the monetization strategy here for Spencer Russell. First off, start with a solid course. Spencer's core product is his online course. He prioritizes user experience and engagement. Expand your product line. Spencer started with digital courses, but has expanded to physical products like flashcards and books. His diversification increases revenue streams and provides more value to customers. So in this case, he may have heard feedback that, oh, well, like I want this in a printable version. So great. He's got all the content created. Do it with low overhead, easiest way possible first, which is like digital downloads. Then if you need to, you can turn that into physical products. Focus on customer experience. Spencer's shift from offering courses to more programs shows his commitment to providing a more comprehensive supportive experience for his customers. So this is a strategy that I see many people do. They start with, again, these standalone, like, let me solve one thing really well. Then over time, you start to learn and see where your customers are getting stuck and the next problem you can solve, the next problem you can solve. And over time, you may have a whole entire program that you could say, hey, in the next 12 months, you're going to go through this program, or I've got everything listed out for you here. And you can charge way more at that point. There's two strategies there. There's either do a bundle discount. So in his case, they're saving money by getting the bundle. But a lot of people really elevate and they'll charge a few $1,000s or several $1,000s for a real comprehensive program. So you can stack the value and become like the only place that someone can go and get all these things solved in one spot. And that's actually much more higher perceived value than just like one-off courses. Because you're like, hey, if you're ready to do this, we got an entire, everything here in one place. If you enjoy learning from me, then this is for you. We've got it all figured out and ready to go. So next up, Spencer is planning for international expansion with 60% of his audience outside the US. He's developing strategies to serve those markets more effectively, including the creation of more accessible printable resources. So that's, these are different problems that you may run into down the road. Not something you have to worry about when you begin with, but now that he has traction, he can think much bigger and reach a wider audience. And next up, what's really cool is he can create almost a new business by helping adults with who can't read. So he's thinking of creating new products and programs to help adults. And these are, again, things that may come up from conversations where he has parents who are interested in learning how to teach or actually not even parents, but just people in general who are looking to learn how to read. And he's teaching toddlers how to read. Well, an adult could probably follow those same things and have success as well. So a huge opportunity there for another market that could be almost a supplemental niche that you could probably take the same content and just package it differently for a different audience of people. And throughout all of this, Spencer has prioritized scalability by creating digital products and expanding into physical goods. Really, he's multiplying himself and he can grow all these income streams without having to work more, because when you record stuff, your social media content is doing the work for you. It doesn't cost anything to get in front of people. The sales funnel is doing the work for him, and he can spend a lot more time adding more value, which makes him even more money over time. And the big lesson here, think beyond your initial offering. It's always fun to dream big. How big could this go? If that is a motivating force for you, you can look at ways to serve your audience more deeply and broadly, always keeping scalability and customer experience in mind. But again, I'd really highly recommend starting small and just solving one thing and getting that figured out, and then start to add and stack to it over time. Okay, so let's do a quick summary here of Spencer Russell in this case study. Built $1 million reading empire. His journey from kindergarten teacher to successful edtech entrepreneur is a masterclass in building an online business. So let's recap the journey that he went through. And this is cool because you can probably relate to some of this. So for Spencer, the idea came to him during a meditation. So boom, if you're feeling inspired, if the idea comes to you, maybe worth getting moving and start to jump on that. He quickly moved into action, pre-selling his course to 30 or 35 people. And this was in February 2021. So that's a fast way to get started. You can pre-sell your course to validate that people want it before fully developing the content. This is a strategy I use all the time with my clients, is let's put it out there and see who buys before we spend all this time and energy creating the content, because it's a lot of work to create the content. You might as well get paid to do it. And those first students can actually get a better experience because you can include group coaching calls, one-on-one time, whatever you got to do to make it worth their while. You want to get those first 10, 20, 30 people to pay. That gives you the money and the confidence to go ahead and do it. And you can make a better product by working with them through the entire process to create the best product possible. For his early content creation, you leveraged what he already was doing as a teacher, so didn't have to reinvent the wheel here. He applied teaching strategies that worked well with young kids, started with his own son. His focus was on creating engaging, effective teaching content for parents. And for his social media content, it was June 2021, when he first launched his Instagram page. And so you can see here, he actually did a lot of teaching and working with people before he even started his social media, which I always recommend. Just go to your ideal customer, help them. That'll give you the confidence to start creating content. Now, what's interesting is the balancing act here. Spencer was still working full-time in his job while building Toddlers Can Read, and he dedicated his spare time to the business, giving it full-time energy outside of work hours. So he talks about the importance of, even if you're doing this on the side right now, give it that full-time energy. And finally, he took the leap in November 2021. He made the decision to quit his job and focus on Toddlers Can Read full-time. It was a big risk for him. And ideally, if you are going to take that kind of risk, like, it can work out, but hopefully you can get the cash flow going so it's not as much of a risk, which he did have some coming in. His first full month in December resulted in a loss. So he had $4,000 of revenue, but $5,500 in expenses. So just keep that in mind. If you do go full time with it, it may not be profitable right away. But through learning and iteration, he was able to figure this out. His initial expectation was to gather data from his first customers to refine his course. Quickly learned that most people don't complete online courses, which was a little bit frustrating. And this is a common thing. Even though people buy, they join in, you may not get the kind of feedback and the results that you want from them because most people don't finish courses. They get busy, distracted, they come back to it later in the future. But if you're relying on that, just know that only 10, 20% of the people who buy are actually going to go through your content. So you may have to do, that's why I recommend doing a lot of one-on-one first. If you're creating a course, create that accountability and personalized attention because you need that feedback. You need people to succeed and they're probably not going to do it on their own. So keep that in mind when you launch a new course. And this realization led him to focus more on user experience and engagement and future editions, which is a lot of work to make it much more like DIY, truly DIY, where they go through it and they're motivated, they get the incentives, they reach milestones along the way. It takes time to figure it out. You may not have it perfect at the beginning. So that's perfectly fine. Just get people through it. If you have to do it more manual to begin with, that is very common. And so recapping that journey that Spencer went through, we can learn a few key things. Number one, start before it's perfect. He pre-sold his course before it was fully developed. Really important there. Pre-sell stuff. Get feedback before you spend weeks or months or years building out content that you're going to sell. You've got to get people through it. And it's actually way better if you build it with people. Validate your idea quickly. He used pre-sales and the trial platform to test his concept. So do the minimum thing possible. You can always repackage it, fix it up later, version 2, 3, 4, maybe the one that actually hits, but just validate that it actually helps people. It works. People like it. They're having a good experience. That's so key, especially when you're like trying to build out passive income streams or scalable income streams. It takes some tweaking. You're not going to have it. Most likely, you're not going to figure it out by going into a cave and trying to do it yourself. You got to work with your customer. Next up, commit fully. When he left his job, the focus on the business, he did take a risk there. But even if you're doing it in your spare time, you can still give it that full-time focus and energy when you can. And the final tip is learn and adapt. And that's really the key here. Start small, get better over time, help people. The more you help people, and the more you see the impact you're making, the more excited you're going to get and the more your content's going to resonate. So looking back at the full recap here for Spencer, he's built that huge social media audience of millions of people without paid advertising. He was able to crack the code on creating valuable content that he can consistently put out there that helps his audience and gets their interest and desire to go buy his paid products. He used feedback and data to improve. He kept a really consistent focus in his content using those 6 buckets of content that he knew his ideal customer would want to learn about. He created a focused sales funnel to guide followers towards his paid offerings. He started with digital courses and now he's expanding beyond that, but those courses were really the starting point that allowed him to start to generate more and more income without having to work more. And in just a few years, he's able to generate over $1 million in revenue while helping thousands of families teach their toddlers to read. And now he's looking to go bigger, take this brand to the next level, go international, and even target new markets. So the brand builder shortcut for today is actually very similar to our last one. Commit fully to your vision. The single most powerful insight from Spencer's success story is the importance of full commitment. And in Spencer's words, he said, go all in, whether you are working on your business full-time or part-time, you got to give it that full energy and effort. And from my experience working with a lot of people, it's common to think that, I can hire people to do this, or I can pay someone to do that. No one can build your brand for you. You are the leader of your brand. You're the CEO. And if you aren't all in and you're not fully committed to doing it, you're not willing to put in the work to become the leader that you need to be, that your audience needs you to be, it's not going to happen. You have to show up and build the brand and lead the way. So here are a few tips that you can use to apply this shortcut. Right now, again, commit fully, even if it means taking some risks. Try to reduce the risk by getting the cash flow, getting some stability, but nothing's going to change until you really go for it and decide to make it happen. Second, surround yourself with supportive people who believe in your vision and find those customers, those first customers that you can work with, talk to, get feedback from. That's so important. And then, of course, number three, be willing to learn, adapt, and refine your approach based on results. And remember, success often comes to those who are willing to bet on themselves. If you don't believe in your own thing, your own solution, if you don't believe in what you're doing, then no one else is going to believe it either. So that's got to happen right now. And as Spencer says, the only way to fail is if you don't go all in. So that's a good one to reflect on. Have you been going all in? Are you fully committed? And maybe that's the reason it's not working out for you. Do whatever you got to do to get fully confident and believe in the thing that you're doing. Help people solve problems, and then feel good about that. Remember how important it is. Write up copy, use AI to write copy to list out all the benefits, why this matters, and study Spencer's site to see how he reinforces that benefit. This helps him stay focused on his mission and remember why this work is so important. And that is really the motivating force behind his social media success, because he really cares about getting this message in front of a lot more people, so he knows it'll make a difference for them. My challenge to you is commit to helping one person this week. If nothing else, just go have a conversation with your ideal customer, and that can give you the confidence and motivation you need to build your bigger vision. All right, my fellow brand builders, that's a wrap on today's episode. I hope you found Spencer's story as inspiring and insightful as I did. Remember, building a successful online business is possible with the right strategies and mindset. So if you enjoyed this episode, please make sure to subscribe. We're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. We've also got a Facebook group you can check out to come join us for more insights and little quick updates and tips to help you implement all these ideas. And don't forget to check out designhacker.com for more episodes and resources to help you build your brand.